Alrighty.
Yes, sir.
Hello and welcome to Day One Patch Podcast, episode 561. I'm your host, Ryan Johnson. Matt Lawrence is here with me today.
I am indeed.
How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing all right, yeah.
What's new in the Metaverse?
Well, I've just been kind of working away in my, I guess, day-to-day life. However, I've been keeping a close eye on both Crimson Desert and Samson.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm glad that I'm just letting those games get patched as I play Mafia: The Old Country, which has already been patched. I waited. Bit of a patient gamer thing, not as patient as getting the game for $5, but certainly got it at a good price, and it was fully / mostly patched, I guess, because I don't know if they're still supporting that game.
You learned your lesson from Battlefield 5. Or no.
2042.
2042.
Yeah, fuck that game. Man, God, bought that pre-order, got the edition that came with the 7-day early access, had a glitch with the Xbox firmware that would hard shut off your Xbox Series X, was fixed on day one, lost the 7 days, nonsense. Like, just absolute and then the game sucked after anyway, so yeah.
But you learned a valuable lesson.
I learned my lesson big time.
And it's paying off already because, yeah, you could have gotten, what's that game you just said?
Crimson Desert? You
could have got Crimson Desert at launch, and maybe you would have liked it. But they've been updating it like crazy. They've been adding a bunch of features that people have wanted or been asking for. And by the time you get to it, maybe you'll get it on sale, and you'll get a more complete package.
Yeah, that's the thing is, like, I would love to save the money, but at the very least, I would love to have a more complete experience. And and with Samson, it's kind of the same thing. I mean, it's more of a AA title, so it's a little bit different. I know people are upset because it has its bugs, but I mean, I've been watching some critic reviews, and some of the critics are digging it. Some of them are not, of course. But this game is I think it's somewhere around $32 or $33 Canadian. I think it might be 25 American. It's a brand new game, so I mean. The people who are absolutely freaking out, it's like, this is a AA experience. I mean, that's a conversation for another day. But the thing is they're already patching it. They just put out or are about to put out. I just read some patch notes for it, and so there's a huge patch, with all those notes, like I said. So I'm down to just wait for more and more patches. You know what I mean? Like, it just like patch it up, and then when I play it, it'll be hopefully optimized, runs good, and I mean, I don't know if that game needs to be on sale. It's already cheap enough, but.
I mean, I've heard that like they kind of have to have a release date because otherwise they'll just keep working indefinitely, and they need an end date to actually work to. And you get that. It's mostly how I work in my entire life. Is I need a deadline to then light the fire under me to finish a project, and so that happens in these studios. But it is weird when like a major update comes out a couple days or a week or two after, and it's like, why didn't you just delete it like or delay it a couple more weeks?
I often wonder, I think there's definitely some cases that would work for what you're saying, where why wouldn't you just delay it by a couple weeks? I kind of wonder whether you're getting a bit of blindness in a way where you've been working on the project for so long that your test cases in your QA and things, assuming your QA hasn't completely lapsed or something, I kind of wonder if, Mission 2 is broken and there's thousands of people reporting it, but it's broken because people are coming from like what was supposed to be mission 3 in this non-linear game. Meanwhile, in my testing, I always went from mission 1 to 2, and the start of mission 2 always worked.
Yeah.
And so I'm like kind of blind to, that issue. Now people will come out and say, oh, that's an unfinished game, you shouldn't do that. I'm not going to pretend to know all the ins and outs of game dev like that, but I do know, having worked on tech projects, that it's very easy to become blind to issues. I've tested something that I thought to death, sent it to somebody, and 12 seconds after sending the email, they find a bug. And it's because I never tested it the way they've tried to use it.
There's also other things to consider. Marketing, obviously. They want to market a release date. They want that date to stay the same because if everyone knows the release date, that's when they'll buy it. But if the release date's shifting at the last second, that causes issues, So it's just they're a business and they got to run it like a business, right?
I just think certainly some games come out and they're undercooked or whatever, and certainly some game studios are trying to, like, for example, Cyberpunk. Like, I don't know if they were trying to pull a fast one or something, but they knew that wasn't going to go well, right? You know what I mean? But for some stuff, whether it's AA games or some stuff where people are finding niche glitches and things, I'm a little more lenient where I'm like, hey, I'm not going to run a company, or if maybe not even run a company, let's say just make a project. My project that I make is not going to be perfect.
Right.
So I can't expect them to be perfect. It's not like they're perfect and I'm not.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. All right, Matt. Do you have a video game fun fact for us?
I do. In fact, I fell down a rabbit hole. I stumbled upon this. I fell down a rabbit hole, and now I have two gaming fun facts. One of them will be
Whoa.
for the next episode. So I'll just give a bit of a background. So I was just randomly on Daily Dev. It's a service where you can. So I use it as my new tab page on browsers, and basically it shows a bunch of tech and developer stories that people share to this sort of network. It's sort of very loosely like a developer Reddit, although it's certainly not Reddit. But basically, like if you, like Ryan, let's say you wrote a blog post, you could, share the link to that and it'll go out to the algorithm and it'll get delivered to devs that would be interested in that. You can create a squad on there, which might be like the name of your blog. And then you share stuff in there and people can join your squad to follow it and stuff like that. So kind of like, very roughly like subreddits. Again, this
Mhm.
thing is not Reddit. Don't go into it thinking it is, but just sort of a very rough outline. So I was on there, and usually I just find stuff that's related to work, and I found a Hackaday article about the Sega MegaNet. I never heard of it before. I was like, okay, what the heck is this thing? And that led me down a huge uh, rabbit hole to the Sega Mega Answer, is what it's called, and then the Sega Mega Jet, which I don't know if there's enough content for that Mega Jet to be its own fun fact, but maybe that'll be a third fun fact I got out of this. So let's jump into the first thing, I suppose, which is the Mega Net. So to kick things off here, personally, I thought that online console gaming was more or less started with the Dreamcast. Off the top of my head, if someone had asked me, I'd have been like, oh yeah, the Dreamcast had online play. I think that was the first console that had it. But actually, Sega had developed an online solution all the way back on the Sega Mega Drive. The Sega Mega Drive was launched in Japan on October, of 1988, where it found itself in direct competition with Nintendo for gaming dominance, a bit of a console war, if you will. Now, Nintendo had attempted to create an online offering called the Family Computer Network System, aka the Famicom Net System or Famicom Modem. And this was, of course, built for the Famicom. This service shut down about 3 years after launch due to lack of popularity and other things. But Sega decided, because they're in this console war, hey, we want to try to make our own online system. So soon after the launch of the Mega Drive, Sega created an online offering for the console that went under a few different names. And this was kind of one of the pain points of my research here. So here's a few of the names. So it's Sega MegaNet, and MegaNet spelt all one word. This is commonly used to refer to it online these days. I find the most information about this thing by typing that in. It's also sometimes known as MegaNet, which is two words. This is written in some of the articles I've found, but also written on some of the hardware that was used when you actually hook this thing up. And sometimes it's called the Sega Network System, and network is not one word, it's network. Like it's two different words there. So Sega Network System. So quite a few little random names here. But anyway, this online system was launched exclusively in Japan on November 3rd, 1990. And at the time, Sega talked up a US launch, which would have launched under a different name called the Telegenesis. Although as far as I could tell, this never really went anywhere. The initially released kit in Japan cost 12,800 yen, which came with the Mega Modem accessory. This was a 1200 BPS dial-up modem that plugged into the EXT DE9 port on the back of the Model 1 Mega Drive. And you actually had to pay a subscription, just like sort of Xbox Live. So to access this service, a subscription fee of 800 yen per month was charged. Now, the kit also included, on top of the modem, a copy of Nikon Sports Pro Baseball VAN. This is not a game. This provided updates and stats on baseball matches. There was also a game library cartridge. This allowed users to play a variety of downloadable games. These titles were extremely compact, oftentimes coming in at under 128 kilobytes to accommodate slow network speeds and a lack of console storage. There were 42 games released on this online service, each one taking about 5 to 8 minutes to download on average. Most of the games were single player. However, online multiplayer was available for 2 titles, including Telltale Stadium and Telltale Mahjong. A majority of the games were unique to the MegaNet service. However, some made full cartridge debuts, including Columns, Fatal Labyrinth, Flicky, and I love playing Flicky, and Teddy Boy Blues. Now, some titles would actually live on past this as well. In the Game no Kanzume, hopefully saying that correctly, series that was released for the Mega CD in Japan. Now, via this service, some cartridge games would also be compatible with online multiplayer via point-to-point dial-up play. So you didn't have to specifically, if you want to play multiplayer, you didn't have to specifically download that Telltale Stadium or that Telltale Mahjong. Some just kind of standard cartridge games would actually support this thing as well. This was point-to-point dial-up play between 2 consoles that'd be playing together. So there wasn't a dedicated server. Like you weren't like, for example, just very roughly, if like Ryan, when you and I play Call of Duty, there's a server in between us, right? There's a dedicated server that's kind of running everything and making sure everything's good. Where it's not point-to-point. However, point-to-point was pretty popular. I mean, it's still something that's used today. And point-to-point was used even up to and including COD 2. I don't know if it was used in COD 3, but I remember some point-to-point stuff in COD 2 for sure. Because if the host left, it was a big mess. What's up?
Is that mostly what they would have had back then?
I think like they definitely could have had servers. I don't know about multiplayer games in particular. Like servers were definitely around, of course. But I think honestly, like point-to-point was good enough, and like for a lot of this stuff, especially with Telltale Stadium and Telltale Mahjong, I believe I remember reading that they were both turn-based games, so point-to-point's just totally fine. And I remember people talking, myself included, in the 360 era, when some games were shut down, their dedicated servers were shut down for multiplayer. A lot of us remembered that games such as COD 2, and there's a bunch of others as well, were point-to-point, and it was sort of like, why not just release a patch? And I know this is, easier said than done, but why not just release a patch that changes the game to point-to-point? And then we don't need don't necessarily need the dedicated server to keep things running. But I mean, again, easier said than done, and who knows how much that would cost or how difficult that would be. Now, I mentioned a bunch of game stuff. I mentioned a little bit of utilitarian stuff, and Sega was really interested in the utilitarian angle of this thing. So beyond gaming, Sega explored other utilitarian uses for the online service, and this is ridiculous. And they explored this via the release of the Mega Answer, and Answer is spelled ANSER. The Mega Answer was released as a package that included the Mega Modem, the Mega Answer software, and a 10-digit numeric keypad controller. There was also an optional printer that connected to the console via a controller port. The most notable, and I thought this was hilarious, the most notable and documented use of the Answer service was online banking, where you could manage your funds. And there were 3 different services, the Naisukun Mini, the Osaka Jinku No Home Banking Service MyLine, or the Sumisei Home Tanmatsu. So there you go. You can do a bit of online banking on your Sega Mega Drive. Now, due to a lack of an online community, the hardware for the Answer and MegaNet services, unfortunately, started to appear in bargain bins everywhere, and a later hardware iteration of the Mega Drive itself eliminated the port that the modem used to connect to the service, effectively eliminating it from the relevance at the time. But I mentioned that MegaNet stuff was in Japan. This was not the end of the service. So there was a regional version that was making a lot of headway in Brazil. Now, this was specifically supported by a local distributor named Tectoy, and it did not use that same DE9 port in the back, that EXT port. It ran using a unique modem accessory that connected via the cartridge slot itself. This localized version of MegaNet had a lot of different uses, including email, fax messaging, and reading an electronic magazine called Revista Electronica. It was designed to be used with the Sega mouse because this was kind of bridging the gap between a traditional PC experience and, of course, a console experience. The service cost 5 Brazilian real, I believe is what it's called, I believe that's the currency. And the service was largely inspired by the original Sega implementation, of course, but it is noted in one of the articles that I read about it in. It is essentially a different service altogether because it's the different modem. It's a different region. It's supported by a different person, but definitely heavily inspired. And some of the stuff had very similar branding, if not very similar tech names as well. Like I saw one of the accessories and it was just literally called, Mega Net with the space in between it. So that's it. That's the Sega Mega Net. It's a pretty interesting little piece of history, and it led me down the rabbit hole to, I guess, slight preview for next time here. The Sega Channel, which is something that released in the United States, as far as I know. I haven't done the full research into it, but Sega Channel, another online something, which we'll review next time.
So you had to have the Sega modem to get this thing to work?
Yes, so there's a MegaNet modem, and so this is in Japan only. It would connect to that EXT/DE9 port on that Model 1 Mega Drive. But if you were in Brazil, you could use a cartridge that was actually a modem. And so you'd plug into the cartridge slot, it would be a modem, because this is in the era of dial-up. So you would have to effectively, quote unquote, dial the service. Not quite literally, but although it is a good question, because I remember way back in the day, like dial-up, we experienced it, to date us a bit. We experienced it, but we experienced the tail end of it to the point where there was definitely some people that I knew that only ever experienced high-speed internet in their homes. They never had dial-up, but we had dial-up, and we had AOL Canada, and you would use the AOL client, and then it would literally dial out. So I wonder if it's not even, or if literally that's what you were doing. Like I said, you're figuratively dialing. I don't think, maybe you weren't. Maybe you were literally dialing the service. I actually wouldn't be surprised if you were. I'm not super versed in dial-up technology, but I wouldn't be surprised with my limited exposure to it if that's literally what you were doing.
Man, because this kind of stuff is so cool. Because I've been listening through that Apple the First 50 Years book. Yep. And it's just what a time to be alive. I wish, we got the tail end of it all. Where now with tech doesn't really feel fun anymore. It just feels why is this broken? Why is that broken? Why doesn't that thing work? But and I'm sure it was like that back then too. But it's just the amount of cool things that was tried back then.
Yeah.
Is so interesting. And I wish I was kind of in my 20s or something, kind of late 70s onward, just to be able to see it all and mess around with it and stuff.
You know what's really weird about tech these days, and maybe this is a hindsight's 2020 kind of thing, but I always feel like tech is sitting still. It almost always feels like we come up with new developer tools, or we come out with faster and faster computers. I've talked, actually, this is a perfect example, Ryan. You and I have talked about this at length, where I'm like, man, every single year they come out with a new laptop that's faster, and the person that's using it is using emails, spreadsheets, and doing a bit of word processing. Many jobs are just, in terms of their digital lives, just that, right? Maybe some messaging. Yep. And I'm like, man, in the 90s, they were doing this. And now, in the 2000s, and now we're in, the 2020s, it's all this time and people are still using that same basic productivity suite.
Yeah.
Why do we constantly need faster and faster computers? But it's easy to forget that cloud computing wasn't really, even when we were in the early days of college, cloud storage was kind of new.
Yeah.
Doing things online was kind of new. We about halfway through college, they started having us hand in things online instead of paper, because we were handing in paper for the first couple of semesters for sure.
Yeah.
I didn't really understand what SkyDrive was, which eventually turned into OneDrive. And so I remember I had a USB stick, and USB sticks were everywhere. Everyone had USB storage sticks. And I just had that. And I remember one time I was like, I'm going to upload these files to SkyDrive. I'm also going to put them on my memory stick to make sure, though. And I'm going to see if I can't use SkyDrive to move these files to the college computer to then print. And I did it, and I was amazed. So so it's interesting that, because back then, obviously, I didn't have a smartphone either. I had a 3G phone that could do some very basic browsing. So it's weird how it seems like things are sitting still, but then we are moving quickly in some other areas. We're in a very weird era. Whereas back then, maybe this is what you're trying to capture, Ryan, is back then they used to, things move so quickly. Like if you like went into a coma for a year and a half and you woke up, it'd be like, oh my God, like everything is different. We're throwing out the things that I was using a year and a half ago and we're on to the next thing. Now people can hold on to a laptop for 5 to 8 years, maybe even 10 years, and can still do all the things they would normally do, right?
Well, I guess it's the diminishing returns, right? Like going from VHS to DVD to Blu-ray was so kind of cool, and you could see the improvements, right?
Oh, big time. Oh, man.
But now it's like my iPhone screen looks incredible, and the next iPhone screen will look incredible, and the next iPhone screen will look incredible. But it's like that's it. It's just like we're at a point where everything's good.
Yeah. Yep.
And sure, the screen might get better in small increments, but it's not going to be like a wow. What do you call it? Like a wow moment. I remember the first time I saw a Retina display on the iPhone 4. I couldn't believe there was a screen where you couldn't see pixels. Like that was just wild. You know?
Do you think that was the last wow moment for you? Like, what do you think was the last wow moment?
Oh, I mean, yeah, the last one I can think of. There's a few devices in my life that I've used that have been wow moments. One of them is actually the PSP. That was freaking awesome.
That's a cool one. Yep.
I just remember like holding that device, and I wasn't even playing games on that. I was just holding it, and I just had the screen on, and I was going around the menu, and I was just like, man, I'm so glad I have this device. You know, I was so happy. Another one was the iPod Touch. Now that was my first introduction to a touch screen because the iPhone was not in Canada at the time.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So that was just another kind of cool moment. Seeing the Retina display on the iPhone 4 was freaking awesome. But more recent than that, the PSP and the Retina screen were like years ago.
That's a long time ago, man.
So I don't know, man. Maybe I mean less so, but like playing your Meta Quest was cool. But like I don't know if it stacks up to the other WoW moments.
Do you think that's because of the internet? No. The reason why I say that is because we read about tech all the time, and so when VR starts getting popular, like when it goes into the Quest and or even before that. We hear about it when it was sort of those Oculus Alpha and, the dev kits and the betas and things. And then eventually it gets packaged up nicely in the Quest model. And there's been several iterations of that. We kind of see that stuff. Whereas I feel like back in the day, it's like we would see a 30-second, maybe a 1-minute ad for the PSP. And it'd be like, oh, that's kind of cool. But then then you really experience it. Whereas with the online world, if the PSP launched today, let's say it was modern, you can read up on that thing to death. Yeah. You could learn every in and out, watch videos on it, watch people go through it on YouTube and stuff. You can it almost numbs it to you, numbs it for you, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I think my wow moment, and this is going to sound weird, was actually Netflix.
No, that's fair.
Because it was like, man, this is like early college and it came out. And I remember people were like, I don't know who's going to want this. And there was those speculators apparently. Speculators. I can't, for some reason, really wanted to say speculators. Speculating taters. Anyway, but all those people who were so down on it or the movies on it aren't good. But I remember a friend got me a code of 60 or 90 days. I didn't have a credit card or anything, so I couldn't actually sign up for the service again. Just first year college. And for that matter, a few weeks into it. And I was just like, man, you can just watch movies on here. You don't have to go to the store and rent them anymore. You don't have to mess around with this. And I don't even know if there were other services around at the time, really. But I mean, Netflix was around for quite a while for renting discs. Gamefly was the same thing where, you're using the traditional mail and you're sending in DVDs and you're kind of doing the DVD exchange, the physical media exchange. And I was just like, man, this is such a, this is the future. And it was it, you know what I mean? It was just, I had that feeling where even though the movies on there weren't good, I was like, if they're able to get through that, it's over. That's the last hurdle here. Cause even back then it ran great.
Oh yeah. Yeah. On my crappy internet back then, it ran fantastic.
Yeah. I had 5 meg down and I could run 2-3 streams in the house. It was fine. Man, I watched Netflix on my 3DS one time.
I don't know if they still do it, but it was like they send out like that box that like a bunch of servers all over the place. I don't know if you saw that ever.
Oh yeah, to like distribute the data, usually with like
Yeah,
popular titles and things.
so you were always nearest some kind of Netflix data center somewhere.
Yeah, yep.
So that
I
was
don't know
really
if they still
crazy.
do that, but
I don't know, yeah. But no, that's a good one. Netflix was kind of awesome when it first came out. It was kind of awesome. That was the
see,
whole binging like time period too.
yeah, people learn. Yeah, when they started putting TV series on there, and people were like,
Hmm.
"My God, I could just let it autoplay, or at the very least press next." I don't know if autoplay and stuff had been hashed out yet, but
Yeah, yeah. All right, thank you, Matt. That was awesome.
thank you, Ryan.
All right, moving on to our top stories of the week. This one's interesting. Xbox achievements getting new features and options. This comes from IGN. Microsoft's rolling out improvements and updates to its pioneering achievement system for Xbox, adding things like updated icons and animations, the ability to highlight your 100% completed games, and the option to hide games from your list of achievements. These changes are available to inner ring insiders today, and they'll roll out wider to other insider groups, and then everyone else in the coming weeks and months. Classic or rare achievement unlocks will now trigger new icons and animations, with those notifications now matching your selected custom UI color. Meanwhile, later this month, you'll gain the ability to hide any game from your achievement history from your profile. So, for instance, if you feel retroactive shame about farming all 1,000 achievement points in under 5 minutes on the notoriously easy achievement Xbox 360 game Avatar: The Last Airbender, The Burning Earth, you can now bury that shame.
What the heck?
Conversely, you can also now highlight the games you've earned 100% of achievements for. So if you're, say, super proud of putting in the time with all the guild quest lines to get all 1,000 points in the base version of the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, you can do that. What I find interesting about this move is it does feel like achievements and trophies, for that matter, have been neglected and are just something that's there. Whereas I remember in the 360 era, they were kind of a big deal, and a lot of people like talking about them, like talking about their achievement hunting, what games they're working on, and that all seems to have kind of gone away.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the first thing that comes to mind is I get the impression that people almost want to just the instant they start a game, they want to finish it sometimes. That doesn't go for everybody. But I experience that sometimes, and the achievements keep you there.
Hmm.
They want you to run around and do something silly sometimes, or they want you to do something challenging that is a very, very side activity. And so like the guild thing for the Elder Scrolls Oblivion. It's like that's side content. You don't have to do that.
Right.
You can just go do the main story, get your achievement for completing the story, and then that's it, man. Like you don't need to go and do all that extra stuff if you don't want. I don't know if that's the truth. Like I know there's definitely a lot of people that will be a completionist and things, but it just feels like to me and to some other people I've talked to, it's like I don't know whether it's the world moving so fast or whatever it is, but it just feels like sometimes I put a game in and I'm like, okay, I kind of want this to be done. Like
Yeah.
already, it's like I'm enjoying it, but I kind of want it to be done. But like, why do I want it to be done?
Hmm.
And I've heard the argument of, oh, it's because when we were kids, you had more time and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, like yes and no. Like I was still running around doing a lot of schoolwork and stuff, and like I was running around with friends and things, and I
I think it's
wasn't.
more perception of time.
It might be perception of time because I've definitely gone and looked at my playtime on games that I thought I played forever as a kid, and it's like 30 hours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, okay, well, so I don't know if that resonates with you, Ryan. Whether it's a time thing where achievements are just yet another time sink.
I mean, yeah, but like I said, it's like they stopped being important. And so when that happens, it feels like, what am I doing, wasting my time doing this?
But important in what way though? Because every game has them. It's not like there's games that have skipped out.
No, but now I didn't have much time with the 360, but the 360 era felt like the 360 was a destination, not just a console. It was a place to go and hang out and look at each other's achievements, talk about your gamer score. And then they even had avatars, which were kind of fun, a digital representation of you or whatever. And like that, all that's gone now from the Xbox, and it feels very dry and I don't know, just play your game and that's it. It's like
Feels like a PC.
it's like they swung too far in the other direction because they were scared when they started making it like this media box instead of a gaming box. and then they swung too far to the other direction of it only does games.
Right, right.
We're focusing just on the games because they tried an Avatar 2.0 and that failed, and
I was
then
gonna
and
say,
then
do we have avatars right now? I don't know if we do.
I don't actually know, but those Avatar 2.0s were ugly. The first ones, I don't know why they changed them, but
You know
anyway,
what's
I'm
what's
curious about
interesting though
this.
is like for you. Just a quick question. Sorry to interrupt, but like
Mhm.
the blades. You experience NXE, new
I
Xbox
never had the
experience.
blades. Yeah.
You never had the blades, but have you ever seen the blades?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So because like the current Xbox right now is like very utilitarian. The blades felt very utilitarian. Like, what do you think on that?
Yeah, I don't have any connection to the blades. I know people like them, and people joke, "Oh, bring the blades back" and stuff. But I think the whatever the last iteration, or maybe the one before the 360 era ended, was probably pretty good.
Okay. Well, I just wondering because when you said it felt like a destination, I was wondering whether it was just the feel of the Xbox at the time, or whether it was specifically the NXE and the subsequent updates.
Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of just the culture around the Xbox, but also just when you log in, your avatar would be there. I remember seeing him pop up. You know what I mean? I don't know. It felt more fun, and it just doesn't feel fun anymore.
I get, you know what? I will say I get the same kind of feeling, and I don't really know what to put my finger, like how to put my finger on what exactly that is.
What I think is an interesting strategy here, though, and if this is like something that Asha Sharma is trying to do, is like, where is Sony also not, investing time into, and that's where we'll kind of like focus on, because Sony's not really doing anything with achievements either or trophies.
Oh, I see what you mean. They're leaving a hole
And
open.
yeah, and I also think there's a strategy in trying to what worked with the 360 era, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
and maybe we need to focus on those things and try to bolster that a bit more.
Well, you and I listened to that. I mean, this is like getting away from the achievement conversation, but you and I listened to that conversation with Major Nelson
Hmm.
on which podcast? Like Game Scoop, maybe
Unlocked, I think.
a podcast Unlocked, and like it felt like the 360 was trying to be fun, and they were doing crazy things where Master Chief was like ripping down Times Square or whatever it was in New York, and in a warthog, and then handing the first person in line at the midnight launch
Yeah,
the game, and I don't know if people would see that as stupid now or whatever, but those are very clippable moments that
yeah,
I think would roughly. The reason why I say roughly is because I don't know how they'd be uh, received, but they would fit into the short form content that we have today. And
yeah.
I think that by having that stuff, you actually garner a community. Like I think that having Major Nelson's show, and I know it went away because it's like influencers, and there were various reasons why it went away, right? Like
Hmm.
people started watching YouTube more and stuff. But I actually think, and I might be wrong here, I actually think it goes beyond the view count. If you're getting 10 views, it's one thing. But I think that having an official, like a Major Nelson show where people are having fun, they're doing and this wasn't a part of Major Nelson, but like Major Nelson was there for that like handoff of the game, in Times Square
Yeah.
and or wherever the heck it was in New York, and then Major Nelson, of course, would I would assume talk about it on his show, and there was like an official like show that you could actually rely on being there. I never really
Hmm.
watched it, but I
No,
knew it was there, I could feel its presence, if that makes sense.
no,
And
I know. Yep.
it makes the Xbox feel like a community, even though I wasn't there for it, which is why I hesitate talking about it because I never watched it. I knew it was there, and I was sad to see it go.
Yeah.
And I think that they have to, in my opinion, they almost have to look at this and go, we have to look beyond the view count. If our view count does go down, I mean, fine, like that kind of sucks, but I think we have to understand that there are so many ways to have a community now. Discord, Xbox has communities or clubs or whatever they call them. There's Reddit communities, there's this, there's that, there's this. We are going to have less numbers because we aren't the only or one of the only people on the block that have a community. But I still think you need to have those official things that come out. Like even like when official Xbox magazine comes out, like I didn't really read OXM too much, but I was sad to see it leave.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think they need to do those things. I don't know about you.
I agree because it did create that community feel. And you're right. I felt the exact same way you did, Matt. Whereas I didn't really watch it. And I remember even the Wii U had this thing where they had the Wii or the Wii, sorry, not the Wii U. The Wii had like channels, and you could go in there, and there were people like talking about the games and stuff, and it felt like it was like kind of like a thing you could sit down on a Sunday morning and watch the show or whatever. Never did it, but it was kind of interesting, right?
Well, the Wii U had that little like town square thing.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? And people would like draw pictures, and it was like
Oh
little
yeah,
like
yeah,
forums under the things, and they had to
yeah.
have like the anti-penis technology and stuff.
Hmm.
But it made it feel like you were a part of a community. It doesn't mean that you have to like here's an example. If you're not a person, if you're a person that likes games and you care about the health of games, but you don't watch Twitch streams, you feel their presence, whether you watch them
Yes.
or not. And
Yep.
if all of Twitch suddenly shut down, gaming, I think, would feel worse to you. Even if you're
Hmm.
like, no, it's stupid, I don't watch it, it would still feel worse to you. And even if it's not a first hand feel worse, if you're like, no, that wouldn't affect me, it'll affect people around you. They'll feel worse about gaming, and then gaming will feel worse to you.
Yep.
The health will be kind of like shaky. The health
I
of
agree.
gaming, not your
I
personal
agree.
health.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm hoping they can foster that kind of thing, and that was what was so interesting about Major Nelson reaching out to Asha Sharma and being like, "Hey, let's talk." Because in that interview you referenced, he did kind of talk about how like that went away, and that's partially why like he left, right?
Yep.
So I think that's very interesting. So hopefully they're on the right path. I mean, so far so good, I guess, just with what we've heard. We'll have to see all this stuff get implemented, but yeah, I think good steps at least. We'll see. All right, this is more of a topic, less so since neither of us are Nintendo guys. I don't even know if you actually played Ocarina of Time, did you?
Yep. On my Wii.
Oh, holy crap! Okay, well maybe you can speak to this. This was going to kind of be more if Tim was here with us, but it's a broader question. It almost spawns a query corner question, but it's a topic here. 1998 Nintendo title was named the most overrated video game of all time, yet it still defines a generation. This is from Men's Journal making a first time appearance here on the show. After a Nintendo video game from 1998 was almost universally praised for decades, it was suddenly given an extremely dubious distinction. The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time has been named the most overrated video game of all time. In January 2025, an article published by Brock Press named Nintendo's The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time the most overrated game of all time. Uh, while the piece recognized it as an enjoyable and landmark title, it argued that the game's greatness is overstated because it is viewed through nostalgia goggles. The article wasn't written by someone who dislikes the game. Instead, the writer urged readers to look at its pros and cons objectively based on its content alone. Mostly, the piece argued that The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time shouldn't be included in lists of best games of all time because some modern games completely outclass it. A much more recent Zelda game was used as an example of that. Quote, as someone who doesn't have the towering bias that is childhood nostalgia clouding my view of the game, it's easy to see many other games that have surpassed it in virtually every way. Take the 2017 Zelda installment Breath of the Wild as an example. While no game can truly ever be considered perfect, it builds on many of the ideas created by Ocarina of Time by setting Link in a larger, more dynamic world for his adventure. Ocarina of Time certainly played a role in Breath of the Wild's success, but I personally consider the latter to be a grander, more exciting, and fun adventure. End quote. So we can talk about this for a bit.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you want to go first, but I definitely have an opinion here as well.
Well, I was just going to try to form this into a question more about like, obviously, older games are going to be old. Our sensibilities and what we're used to in modern games is different.
Right.
So how do you judge the two? Because it's like we've been watching through those Oscar films. What was considered the best motion picture of that year in 1950 is nowhere near the same style or enjoyment we get out of a modern film.
No, definitely not.
So can you really compare them in any real sense?
I mean, it's almost like we would talk about wow moments with tech. It's almost like that, where some people's wow moment for sure in recent years has been the smartphone. You know, full web pages on the go, apps, more connectivity than ever, social media. That's somebody's wow moment. But the very first iPhones, the very first Blackberries, the very first Android phones that could do it are garbage in comparison to today.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know if I want to like it reminds me of like sort of the phrase like respect your elders in a way. But I don't mean people. I just mean like I have respect for stuff that was the stepping stone for today.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? And I can't. I played Ocarina of Time, and I did not enjoy it when I played it because I was used to the modern games of the time. I was playing the retro version. I had the classic controller on the Wii, but I have respect for Ocarina of Time. I wouldn't say I dislike it. I would say that I don't want to play it and I don't want to beat it.
Right.
But I have respect for it. In the same way, I was more of an Elder Scrolls kid, I suppose, over top of Zelda. I played some Zelda, but mostly Elder Scrolls. And Elder Scrolls Morrowind is the first Elder Scrolls I played. But 4 is the one that I really got into. Oblivion is the one I really got into. But I have massive respect for Morrowind. And furthermore, I have massive respect for Daggerfall.
Yeah.
And I don't know much about Arena, but I respect it in the fact that it kicked things off. But I mean, I respect the fact that like there are people that think like Morrowind is an absolute masterpiece. And I would agree from a respect point of view that, yeah, it's pretty masterpiece material. It defined a genre. It used a lot of hacky things to work on an Xbox console specifically. It had a very vibrant modding community. It was changing RPGs or trying to change RPGs from trying to emulate their tabletop counterparts into a more, hey, games are their own separate medium. Here's a 3D game. It was trying to do that.
Yeah.
And I can respect it for that. Now, I played Morrowind as a kid, never beat it. And then I beat it more recently. And it was a pain in the ass. But I don't dislike it because it was a pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know that it was a stepping stone.
And I mean, one of the things too is like you and I aren't the biggest Nintendo fans in general.
Right.
Like those style of games are not what I want to do when I sit down at a console. Right. And I didn't even want to do that when I was a kid. Now, I was jealous of a lot of people playing it. I remember people playing, like this is how much of a Nintendo guy I'm not, is I don't even know the name of it. What's the N64 3D Mario game?
Oh, holy crap.
Mario 64? Is it
I think it just might
like
be
that?
Mario 64, I think, yeah. I mean, because here's a weird thing. I played it on my DS.
Oh, okay. But I remember being jealous of people playing that game. But when I think about it, it probably wasn't a game I wanted to play back then anyway. So
right. It's called Super Mario 64, by the way.
Super Mario 64. So yeah, I don't think there was any hope for me ever thinking Ocarina of Time was going to be a great game. I never played any Zelda that old either, though.
I loved Link's Awakening. I definitely have my moments with Nintendo, but I agree with you. Like, for whatever reason, I think I'm just more of a, well, I want to say like I'm more of a realism gamer where I like things that are more realistic, but then I love Ratchet and Clank. So where the hell does that leave me? You know, I don't know. But you can respect, like, you can respect Super Mario, like you can respect Mario.
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah.
You know what I mean? If it wouldn't be crazy for you to have like a little Mario statue on your desk or something. You know what I mean? Even if you're not the biggest fan, because like Mario is like a respected elder, if you will, of the gaming space.
Right.
You know, an establishing figure that it has a lasting effect and is still, you know, widely used. I think that it would be ridiculous to look back and say, "Oh, this game sucks now." It's, well, like, does it? You know, like, you know what I mean? It sucks by, like, okay, let me ask you a question. Does the Ford Model T suck? You know,
yes.
like, but you know what I mean? Like, but if one was driving down the road, you'd be like, "Wow, look at that!" Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
It's of its time. I think to try to strip something of retroactively, you know, strip something of it's like, hey, this is, you know, is this a good game or not? It's like, we can't look at whether Ocarina of Time is a good game by cutting edge tech, state of the art tech in 2026.
Yeah.
That's absurd.
Here's one weird thing. I'm very good at like kind of, at least I think I am. I don't really know, but I feel like I'm good at putting myself in the time period of what I'm watching. So if I'm watching a movie from the 40s, I'm not bored. I mean, sure, I'd probably prefer to watch something more modern, but I can say, oh, this is good because I can think about kind of what they would have thought if they were watching this back then.
Right.
Now I don't really know what they felt like, but I feel like I could put myself in their shoes and kind of view it through that lens. For some reason, I can't do that with video games. An old game feels like old to me.
I think it's because with a movie, you're being fed everything.
Yeah.
You're being given everything. Whereas with a game, you're
The
being told
mechanics really hurt me.
exactly like you're
Yeah.
being told, "Yo, control this," and it's like, "Oh
Hmm.
no."
Yeah. So I struggle with a lot of that. I think I'm getting over having to play modern stuff, obviously, because my backlog's so big now, and I'm playing like 5+ years ago. It would have been unheard of me playing Horizon Forbidden West this late after it launched.
Oh, it'd be no chance, right? No chance.
So I think I'm getting better in that sense. But this kind of sparked a bigger conversation in my mind. What other games would you consider overrated?
Specifically from the deep past, because this is
No,
like
no,
quite a
any
while.
any kind of game you think is overrated. Like one I would think it would be actually be a lot of people's answers would be like The Last of Us.
Last
It's,
of
it's
Us
my
is definitely overrated. Yeah,
it's my favorite game, but I can see people thinking it's overrated.
I I I agree with that. That's a really good example. Actually, is I just think it's sort of like a well written story that isn't exactly filled with twists and turns or something. Like it's not. I don't know if I want to call it cliche, but do you know what I'm trying to say, Ryan? Where it's like it's not like I'm shocked at every turn of the story. It's just a really well put together survival story,
I think
but
what
it's not like a definitive thing, in my opinion.
I think what was so amazing about it is like there were so few games that had that level of acting and storytelling and emotion to it.
Sure.
That's what made it special. There's 1,000 movies that can do that kind of stuff, but in terms of video games, there were very few that did that, and I think that was just in a time where like that was something special, you know.
Right. Yeah. I'm trying to think of like another example because we could maybe like even compare and contrast. Um.
I mean, here's my anti Nintendo. I'm not anti Nintendo, but
Oh no.
for the sake of this argument, my anti Nintendo bias. A lot of Nintendo games are probably overrated in my estimation.
Yeah.
I've tried playing Breath of the Wild several times, and I just find it boring.
I got a bit of a almost a controversial one. I think Skyrim's a little overrated.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. You've thought that for a while, yeah.
I felt this for a while, and I haven't really I haven't really thought of it this way, or I haven't really like kind of put the thought through this way. But the thing with Skyrim is like I've played it a bunch. I've played on the console. I've played on the PC. I've beat it a couple of times, and it just never had this sort of staying power in my head as Oblivion had. And I've been through Oblivion a bunch. I've played it, excuse me, also on console and also on PC. But I remember the music. I remember the land. I know where I'm going. I remember a lot of the side stories. I remember the story. Skyrim, I remember some of the stuff. Like some of the stuff is cool. But my problem with it is the setting is boring to me. Like Tundra
Mhm.
is Tundra.
Mhm.
Like Cyrodiil is so vast. It's got the Dural Mountains and the sort of more Arctic or the more wintry area. You kind of go more tundra as you leave the mountains. You then go into this like really lush and like green and rich area around the Imperial City. The Imperial City is huge. It's this big crown jewel. You have these little shitty cities like Breville. You have these isolated cities that are down in the swamp area like Leowin. It's just so vast, and it's not the biggest map, but there's like the rich city like Skingrad. You have these secret societies that feel really secretive and stuff, and it's sort of like for Skyrim, I was like, this is awesome. I can dual wield. Like the mechanics are better, and I like fighting the dragons, and I actually like the vampire DLC quite a bit,
Mhm.
and that. But then for some reason, it falls apart for me for coming back. I don't ever want to come back to it for some reason. Like I get that hankering. Like maybe I'll play Skyrim, and I've installed it several times on my PC, and I didn't even boot it up, and then I eventually just delete it.
Wow, really?
Yeah, like I would just prefer to play Oblivion. I think.
I don't consider well, the amount of people like playing it still and how many versions have come out kind of makes it in that overrated camp, but it is a special game to me. And I kind of feel like because I never really spent a lot of time with Oblivion, Skyrim is my Oblivion, you know, what Oblivion is to you.
Right.
I still have a lot of memories of playing that. What was great was it came out in November, right? And so it was like I would play the game, and when I'd step outside, it would still be Skyrim.
It'd be
You
Tundra.
know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it was kind of just awesome. We were in college, and it was just kind of a cool time to play that kind of game for me.
I really like I don't want to say that I hate it or anything. I really enjoy it. I really respect it. Like I'll probably end up playing it again someday. It's just something where I like the Dark Brotherhood fell flat for me. The Thieves Guild was like kind of cool, but it's a very dreary province.
Yeah.
And honestly, I have the same issue with Morrowind personally. I have a lot of respect for Morrowind. I've already said that. I'm not going to go reiterate all that. But the thing with it is, you know, you're dealing with this big, mountainous, kind of pain in the ass to navigate area,
Hmm.
and it's just a little bit dreary. And I spent a lot of my times just sort of like in the nicer cities in Morrowind, if you will.
Yeah.
And I just feel like there's more of those nice areas, even in even in some of the dangerous areas of Oblivion. I
Right.
just like the setting better. And also, like you mentioned, like, you know, you were in college and this and that for Skyrim. I think like the golden age of gaming for me was definitely 360, and like part of it is absolutely Oblivion.
Hmm.
And so like that definitely plays a part in my opinion of it.
And it worked well on your 360. Skyrim was a bit of a headache on PS3.
Well, yeah, there's that too. Yeah, for sure.
Anything else?
Trying to think, like, I don't think Mafia. I'm trying to think of like major series maybe I've played. Like Mafia, I don't think is overrated.
Mafia is probably rated about right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that first game is kind of like held up on a pedestal, but like I think it almost should be because it's like it's one of the first games that has like a lot of cinematography and the cutscenes and things like that. And I don't mean the definitive edition. I mean the first game, the very first
Mhm.
game. It's got some problems. Like, I mean, let me tell you, I'm not saying these games are perfect by any means, but uh, well, I mean, to flip it, underrated. I think the Godfather game is fucking awesome.
Oh,
To be honest, I love that game, especially the Dawn edition, the Dawn's edition, which I played. Holy
Mhm.
fuck, like that's a great game. The Dawn's edition is the PS3 version of it. Apparently,
Mhm.
it's more rare. It has like more content in it. It's like the definitive version that people say to play, and I just picked that up because I wanted to play a game on PS3, and I play that game to death. Like I love that game.
Just going through my Steam library trying to find something that I would consider overrated. Although, would I buy an overrated game?
Definitely like a Game
That
Pass game
is
that
the
you've played, maybe,
question.
right?
Maybe, yeah.
I was gonna say Alice Fallen, but that game wasn't exactly rated too well. I didn't like that game myself.
I don't think anyone rated that game. Any of the GTAs you think are overrated?
GTA 3.
Oh, really?
Um, I think though it's one of those games again where like I wouldn't be the one to sign up to review it because I just think that my GTA experience started with Vice City, and I
Hmm.
really like the Vice City setting. It's kind of like that Cyrodiil effect again, and Liberty City is really dreary and stuff. And that era of GTA is like kind of hard to go back to now. And so I've like tried to go back to like I went from Vice City and then I believe roughly like it's been a number of years now. I think I played GTA 3 like a little bit with like a friend or something, but I played Vice City and then I went to San Andreas and then I went to 4 and then I tried to go back to 3 and I just don't think that worked, unfortunately for me.
Now,
The PSP game's fun though, and that's like 3 more or less.
I've not played these games. I have tried, but I've never finished them or really fully experienced them. But Half-Life 2, maybe that's overrated. I don't know because I've not played it. So don't chop my head off, people.
Well,
I'm just putting that out there. Could that be an overrated game?
I've tried to play Half-Life 2 a few times because of all the hype around it. I haven't been able to get into it. I just think what I would need to do is I would need to be in the mindset of playing an older game, which I kind of am now because I play
Mhm.
games all over the place. So I'm probably in the right headspace to play it. It's almost like I should try it now and
Yeah.
see if I get into it. But I've just never, my gaze has never been, you know, taken by
Yeah.
Half-Life. It just hasn't been my thing.
Now, why do I have two Mass Effect 2s in my library?
Maybe one's like fixed, like for an older session over computer. You know what I mean?
Mass Effect 2 2010 edition,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
then
There you
Mass
go.
Effect 2 2010. So I don't know what's
One of
going
those probably
on.
patched for like a modern PC or something.
Jeez. Portal 2 is a fantastic game and in no way is that overrated. Red Dead Redemption 2, also a masterpiece, not overrated.
Yeah, no, definitely the Red Deads are rated where they should be.
Sleeping Dogs underrated. Not enough people played that game. Probably bad to play now. I think I did try to play it recently when that didn't yeah, the high definition version came out.
Yeah, definitive edition. Yep.
Yeah.
I think that game is good if you go into it knowing it's more brawler than it is GTA.
Mm-hmm.
If you go into it with that, I think you're fine.
All right, well, that's all I got.
Overrated. Yeah, I can't. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch that we'll think of after, but
Well, we can look up a list of the most overrated.
yeah, maybe just do that. The most overrated video games of all time.
GTA 5, that's on the top of this list here. There's Half-Life 2, BioShock Infinite. I see now BioShock Infinite, mostly what I hear is people say it's good, but not great like the first two games. So that's probably properly rated.
Sorry, and this is BioShock 2?
Yeah. Oh no, BioShock Infinite.
Infinite. Okay. I never beat that game either. To be honest, I haven't beat a BioShock. I was gonna say I played the first one, but I've kind of played a few of them, and I have never beat any of them. Now that I think of it.
Oh, see, yeah, God of War Ragnarok. I think that's properly rated. It's not. I don't think people think it's amazing. People don't think it's bad. It's just right. It's just good.
Yeah. I do. I mean, this is a personal thing. I do have another underrated one. I know it's opposite. Viva Pinata series is fucking awesome. Like,
I don't know. A lot of people like that, man.
God, like that. Well, because I've heard people say, "Oh, it's for kids" and this and that. That game is friggin' hard. The game is friggin' hard. It's complex. It's awesome. And like, if you're into like a cozy game, and I know people are playing the Pokopia or Poketopia or whatever it's called. Pokopia. I know that people are playing that, but man, if you got a Game Pass subscription, you want to play a cozy game and you want to just like recruit pinatas, that game is freaking awesome. And I mean either of them. First one and the second one. In fact, I would encourage you play both because I love that first game.
I don't think DualShockers knows what overrated means.
I'm on DualShockers as well.
These are not overrated games. These are just properly rated games.
Like this one here, Starfield. Like, is this overrated? Like,
no.
Starfield kind of got a lukewarm reception, and it's kind of a lukewarm game. I haven't tried the newest update, to be clear, but
like at the bottom of this list, they're just choosing popular games as if that makes it overrated. It's like, no. Like Fortnite. Most people think Fortnite's kind of a joke. At least people our age, I think.
I think it has that kid effect.
Yeah.
Where like people think it's for kids, but it's actually like a pretty difficult game.
Well, what I just mean though is like, I think people would rate Fortnite as not some amazing game.
Yeah.
It's just a game, and so it's not overrated. It's people are just rating it as a game that people like.
I booted this one up here. IMDb. Now there's 100 of them, so I'm not going to go in there. But modified 3 months ago. This is the top 100 most overrated video games of all time, and the author or the person that put this list together is Hunter Dobert. I'll go through a few of them here. The first and second one are Alan Wake, and then followed by Alan Wake 2. I think Alan Wake is where it's at.
Yeah,
I think
that's what I'm saying.
Because the gameplay is kind of basic. See, I think the issue with games is some people want the game to push things forward. Like something like Mafia: The Old Country had like a positive rating on Steam, and now it's mixed.
Yeah.
And I was worried it was due to a technical issue, but people are like, it doesn't push the game mechanics forward. I'm here to see a mafia story in old Italy from 1904.
Right.
Is the acting good? Is the story good? And I mean, the story can be cliche. Is the story told well? That's what I'm there for. The game doesn't not have to push the limits of, knife gameplay and gun gameplay and that it doesn't need to do that. And it doesn't. And so that's fine. But I understand the point is if you're more of a gameplay person.
Yep.
I kind of wonder how, you know what I think? The more I look at these lists, the more I am getting the impression that this is a highly personal thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
like,
no, I think so.
Like this guy, I'm just scrolling through this guy's list. So I'm on number 45. Again, this is a list of 100. Number 45, it's like, this one's got a 9.1 star on IMDb. It's Dragon Age Origins. It's like, I think that's about a 9.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that's that crazy. Number 47 is Elden Ring. It's got a 9.4. I don't know. Like, I'd give that kind
Well,
of a 9.
to me, overrated doesn't necessarily mean the number score it got. It's more people's general opinion of it. It's like a clapometer.
I
How much
suppose.
how much are people clapping for it? That makes it overrated.
Yeah, because
You
I guess
know?
I'm looking at more of the Metacritic angle, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Which, or IMDb angle, I
It's
guess in
it's
this
just
case.
like a general polling data you would get for a game.
Oh, I found one. Ghostwire Tokyo. That game fucking sucks.
But who's cheerleading Ghostwire Tokyo though?
People love Ghostwire Tokyo, man.
Really?
Um, People like that. It's some sort of like you have like paranormal abilities, and they're called something. I forget what it's called now. It's like some sort of like folklore or mythology or something in Japanese culture. And people say it's like the best representation of that. And there's like these scary moments, and the presentation's cool. For those people, I'm really glad that you got a game. That game is fucking bad in general, in my opinion. I can't stand that game. That game has no friggin' story. Someone told me like no spoilers. I was like, you can't spoil it. There's like the story is like less than a pamphlet thin.
Hmm.
It is. I do not like Ghostwire Tokyo. But again, if you're in to that type of horror and you're in, see, that's that gameplay thing, right? Or that's your fandom of that Japanese mythology,
Yeah.
right? And so you're
Yeah.
going to look at that through that lens and go like, that's amazing. Whereas from a gameplay perspective, where I'm just playing it as a person that's like, oh, that game kind of looks cool, let me try it. Holy crap. Like
Hmm.
the progression was bad. The game looks fucking awesome. I'll give it that. But man, that story's bad, and that game, the combat's really bad.
All right. Well, let's move on to our final story for the week.
Yes, sir.
Ex Bethesda exec says Elder Scrolls 6 maker isn't part of something, quote, genuine or authentic, end quote, at Microsoft. This is from Kotaku. It's a bit of a trek here, so just bear with me. Pete Hines had worked at Bethesda for 24 years before he announced his retirement in 2023, just a month after Starfield's release. The outgoing VP of comms and marketing said in a new interview that he'd been planning to leave for a while after Microsoft's acquisition concluded because he felt, quote, powerless to do what I think needs to be done to run this place properly, end quote. The maker of Fallout and the Elder Scrolls was sold to Microsoft along with the rest of parent company ZeniMax in 2021 for $7.5 billion. Without ever mentioning the tech giant by name, Hines suggested in an April 10th interview with Kirk McKean's Fireside Chat newsletter that the new owners turned out to be bad fit for Bethesda and made his job of managing the storied game studio's reputation impossible. Quote, I was staying there because this place still needs me. I just hit a point of, yes, it needs me, and I am powerless to do what I think needs to be done to run this place properly, to protect these people, to maintain what we worked so hard to create, which is an incredibly efficient, well-run video game developer and publisher. And when I was unable to do that, I thought my job should involve in continuing to have that place be, if not the most efficient publisher in the game industry, it was way the fuck up there. And when I couldn't protect it and I saw how it was getting damaged and broken apart and frankly mistreated, abused, whatever word you want to use, I said, I'm not going to sit here and watch this happen right in front of me. To talk is something, right? But I'm very much about what is the follow up to that? Do you mean what you say, or are you just saying shit that sounds good? And then as soon as you leave the room, that's completely forgotten, because that is not how we ever operated at Bethesda. End quote. I think in that sentence, he was referring to things that Microsoft was saying. To talk is something, right? But I'm very much about what is the follow up to that. So
Well,
I
it kind of
wonder.
sounds like he was in meetings where they were like, we're going to go make this up, but like, we're going to go put these posters up, and like these posters are going to be the best posters ever. And then it's like, okay, cool. But like, where are the posters?
Yeah, yeah. And then to finally here, Hines, who joined Bethesda on the ground floor right out of college, helping it with guides for its games and rising through the ranks to later be presenting its games on the stage at E3, didn't specify who at Microsoft or which parts of its business culture he was specifically referring to, but there's clearly no love lost for the Xbox maker turned AI hyperscaler. Quote, that's not to say everything Bethesda said we did. Yeah, we probably didn't fucking come close to that, but that was absolutely our intention. We are going to do what we say and say what we do and be genuine and authentic. And truthfully, I still think Bethesda is just part of something that is not authentic and is not genuine. and that shouldn't be a surprise to you. End quote. That's pretty damning, actually, isn't it?
It sounds like he didn't have a good time. That's for sure.
No, but I guess if we look at Bethesda's run under Xbox, it is a bit strange, I guess.
Well, I was wondering, and I mean, it would require a little more research to be sure, but I was wondering whether they had published anything since they joined Xbox Studios, with the exception of obviously they've been self-publishing things,
Mm-hmm.
because they used to publish the odd title here and there that wasn't done by Bethesda or an affiliate like id, right? At least I thought they did.
I think so.
But it feels I'll say the vibe though. The point of my thing is like without getting into like the numbers and actually like researching whether or not they have. The thing is the vibe feels like Bethesda feels more like a developer now and
Mhm.
less like a publisher. Whether that's actually true or not, that's the vibe that I'm getting.
Also,
And
just a cog in the machine too, though.
well, cog in the machine certainly, and like Pete in these comments are talking about being an efficient publisher and how he wants to run things properly and things. I mean, this kind of sounds like that vibe was internal as well, a little bit.
Well, remember the classic thing was Bethesda would have their E3 conference, and then in a few months, the game they just announced would come out.
Yep.
So they were very efficient in that sense, and that seemed to stop once Xbox got involved, right?
Yeah.
So
Well,
I don't. Did they already start meddling that quickly? I always find it weird when you buy a company, you're clearly saying, "I like what that company does," but then you instantly go and start meddling with the process of what made them buy them, what made you buy them in the first place.
right.
Like that's so bizarre to me. Like I
Well,
wouldn't buy a movie studio I love and start changing things and messing with the way they do stuff because it's like they clearly were doing stuff I liked.
but this is like a small thing though. Like you mentioned, like that release where they would announce it, then release it a few months later.
Yeah.
I mean, Elder Scrolls was announced what 2018, and then Microsoft acquired them in 2021.
Yeah, that's
So
fair.
I mean, you could kind of see the cracks there where they're making a mistake, but also like they threw up a title card for Elder Scrolls. You know, it wasn't the end all be all. Like, was it a mistake? Sure, but it wasn't like they said, "Oh, it's coming soon. It's coming soon." They kept delaying it.
Yeah.
So it's a bit different. But I do agree with you in that like Bethesda was a well-oiled machine, and then now we have this other layer. Like it's almost like an abstraction layer when Microsoft comes in. And I wonder if Pete had like hard limits put on him where, you know, as someone who is doing the communication, who's like helping with the marketing, of course, like whether he would come out and be like, I really want to do this ad campaign. And they'd be like, well, it has to go through Microsoft approval, or Microsoft as a whole wants to put out this image for all of the umbrella that is Xbox Game Studios. We don't know if we want you to do that. Like if he was getting blocked that way, I could definitely see him getting fed up and being like, why am I here?
Yeah.
The cog in the machine, I think, is a good analogy there, because if he had to be beholden to Microsoft, if he had to be beholden to the Xbox Game Studios umbrella, if or beholden to the Game Pass messaging of the time, that definitely like stops you or slows you, right?
Mhm.
Because you can't be like, I'm going to come out with this like dark and gritty trailer, and again, I'm just making this up, but if he wants to come out with this dark gritty trailer, and Microsoft's like, right now we're doing cozy games, you know, it's the cozy game month. I don't really know if I want you to put out. In fact, I don't want any Xbox Game Studios game to put out a dark trailer right now. We're doing cozy games right now because it's you know, a month where we're releasing 5 cozy games on Game Pass.
Hmm.
And so you're like, well, okay. And then your idea gets shelved and you're again, why am I here? Like, why doesn't Microsoft proper or Xbox Game Studios proper just tell me what to do then?
Yeah. I think also in that article he mentioned that he was upset that like they promised Call of Duty would be multi-platform, and a lot of those Activision games would be multi-platform, and yet Indiana Jones, which was planned to be multi-platform, and then they had to make it just for Xbox. It did eventually come to PS5, but that upset him, I think, and so maybe kind of some decisions like that. Even Starfield, I mean, they were probably hoping was going to be multi-platform. But then it's like, well, I guess it wasn't his decision to sell, right? That would have been ZeniMax.
It would have been ZeniMax. Like, I'm sure he was read into stuff because he was pretty high up, but
Mhm.
he wasn't the guy who was signing the paper. I
No.
don't think, you know.
Yeah. Well, it kind of sucks because it's like it felt like Xbox was a good place to be bought. There was even a lot of hope that they would clean up Activision after all those allegations of, abuse and mistreatment and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So it kind of sucks to hear that it's still shaky, but I mean, they're a multi-trillion-dollar company. I mean, it's not going to be a bunch of roses. I think just joining them.
Yeah, I get the impression that people think it's smooth, but then it just isn't. Like the whole Activision, let's clean them all up and everything, and now people are just dunking on COD. So it's not
Yeah.
even smooth from the community aspect, where the communities like the community seems to turn on them on a dime. Although the COD community can be any competitive game community can be pretty ruthless, I
Yeah.
would think, especially on socials. But it, if all he's saying here is true, like if this is all true and this stinks.
Mhm.
It kind of sounds like we're getting a Bethesda that's like very Microsoft, which I mean maybe isn't surprising since they bought them, but you know what I mean.
Mhm. Yep. All right, that's it for the news for the week, Matt.
All right.
Moving on to what we're playing, Matt. You're the only one here. What are you playing?
What? Well, you're here too. But what am I
I'm not here.
playing? You're not here.
No,
This is just you're like this is a recording. At the end of this,
I
it'll be this is a recording.
I never was here.
Man, we release this and it's just a one-sided podcast where there's these long pauses and then I talk sometimes.
Yeah.
And you were never there. A little scary. What have I been playing though? I started playing. I've owned this game for a little bit, and I started playing this a little bit. We beat the crap out of Enshrouded. My one buddy and I beat the crap out of Enshrouded over months and months and months, because we play on average like once a week, once every 2 weeks. So beat the crap out of that. We're waiting for the 1.0 release to sort of do the last like, chapter, I suppose, if you will. So okay, like we moved on, and we had both of us had Pioneers of Pagonia, and it's like this strategy game that you could play co-op. So I was like, all right, let's try that out, and I've been having a blast with that. It's pretty fun. We're having some problems with some bugs right now, where apparently when you load from save state, there's like some trade issues and things, and it's just this game's been out for a while, and that kind of sucks. I'm having like some audio issues and things, and all these issues cropped up when we played a mission that was so long that we had to like save and then come back to on a different day. But other than that, it's been a lot of fun. It's a pretty fun game. So you basically, the world has been, I mean, I haven't been paying super close attention to the story, but the world of Pagonia has been like torn apart. And so you're on a ship and you're sailing around and it's been like literally torn apart. So there's like islands of people kind of thing. And like a lot of people have died, like basically an apocalyptic level event. And you're trying to find certain things. You're trying to find this like forgotten library. You're trying to find forgotten archive and all this other thing. And so you're sailing island to island and you're finding, other Pagonians in trouble and you're trying to help them. And so you're, building out a town and stuff. Because for example, it'll be like werewolves are attacking this city. They have a defense mechanism, which is these 3 buildings. These 3 buildings need to have softwood constantly delivered to them. So you're like, oh shit, okay, so I better like build out there, expand my territory so that I'm able to like get to those buildings so I can open up a trade or open up at least a road so that my people will then deliver the softwood. So I got to get my lumber mill going. Oh, now I'm under attack by these werewolves. They're like diverting some to me. So now I got to have some troops and things. I have to expand territory and stuff. So like you have to kind of like manage your town domestically, right? In order to like get to an objective, which is pretty cool. One was like you're fighting a bunch of thieves. And one was like you're fighting a bunch of ghosts, and they teach you about fighting ghosts because they're like they're a whole different animal. And so it's been pretty fun. I don't know how many levels it is or anything like that. We bought it on a very deep sale, and so I'm going to estimate we're 50% of the way through, but I'm not really sure. I haven't played it too much, but it's been pretty fun minus the loading issues. Other than that, I have not picked up Mafia again. Actually, I've been pretty busy lately. I haven't picked that up. Well, I haven't played anything single player actually recently, but we did some Overwatch this week. I did a little bit of that Apex as well, and I swear I did something else. Battlefield for sure. Did Battlefield a couple of times. Man, I actually like that Battlefield game quite a bit. Fix the goddamn party system. Said it last time. I'm not going to rant again. Fix the fucking party system. Like, what the fuck are you doing? And people on the subreddit now, apparently, from what I read on comments, I haven't confirmed this myself, are starting to like downvote people complaining. And it's probably because it's the same complaint over and over again. And it's kind of clogging up the forum. And I get it. But like at this point, it's like, EA, fix the goddamn party system so that people all enter the same game at the same fucking time. What are you doing? Like, we've had party systems. You're a huge studio. I'm not saying it's easier. It's easy. But we then don't have a party system. Then get rid of it and just allow us to join on each other, and let's just hope that there's slots open, because this is just fucking stupid. If you have a party system, make sure it fucking works. And I am like, I know that some people wouldn't be. I will sympathize with them when the game was new. There's a glitch or an issue with the party system, but it's been months and months now. It's time to fix it up. But other than that, the game's really fun. The game's really good. It needs the new map is actually very, very good. It's like up in the mountains, and there's like mountain bases, and there's a lot of really good choke points, and there's like trenches around the initial house and stuff. We tried various modes in there, and that's pretty good. And then there's another map. So I guess there's a couple of maps. There's another map where you're inside of this like really dark underground base, and there's areas that are lit up and areas that are not, and you actually have to use your night vision in some of the places. And we played that map. It wasn't as dark though, but we played that map in Attack and Defend, and it feels exactly like the old prison map, which I think was called Operation Lockout. If you're like a Battlefield 3 or 4 fan, you'll know what that is. People would run like Operation Lockout 24/7 because it was just like an absolute meat grinder, like two teams just beating the living shit at each other. And so it feels like that again. So that's been a ton of fun. So the new maps that they're adding are very, very good, and like to the point where I'll actually remember those maps. Most maps, modern maps, I forget, but I'll actually remember those ones. But other than that, no. That was the thing I was thinking of. The new Division. Ryan, you and I have been playing the new Division. Yeah. As I was going to say, I swear I was going to play Mafia one night, and then I went and did something else. And you're playing it right now.
I'm booting it up right now.
Yeah, so it's the Division Resurgence. It's the mobile game. A ton of fun. I was most impressed by the fact that you're walking around. I mean, I guess slight spoiler because it takes a little while to get there, but the open world is the New York map post the first game, at least in the section that I'm running around in.
Yeah.
And you see other Division agents running around outside, which is super cool. I thought it would be instanced like it is in the Division on the console, where it's a common area. Like if you go to the base of operations, for example, you see other Division agents, but when you leave, it's an instance. No, you can actually see other Division agents doing things and fighting people and
hell yeah,
and taking things on in the city. So it's been great. We've made one or two choices in the story, which is cool. I don't know how much impact they have. And I booted it up. I booted it up just for testing on my Odin 2. So I have a newer Galaxy tablet, and it was a friggin' expensive tablet. I use it for work primarily. Well, that's what it's for. And I thought it would run great on there, and it runs like ass. But it runs great on my S23 Ultra, and it runs great on my Odin 2. I booted it up, and it was all the bells and whistles. Like a lot of the stuff was set to high, if not everything. Some stuff set to very high and things. And it looked great. So I'm probably going to play it primarily on the Odin 2. Get my dailies and stuff going. But you and I did some HVT stuff. We progressed the story a bunch. Pretty cool. Pretty dang cool.
Yeah, we had a whole night of just sitting there on our tablets, just playing a game. It was kind of, it's almost a wow moment.
Yeah, actually, yeah. It's like because people will think, oh, it's just a mobile game. It's a damn good game. It's like a fucking console game almost.
It's a full on console AAA game. Yeah.
Well, you and I discussed that, Ryan. Like because you've been playing that too, obviously, and like I was saying that the problem is that it's obviously built for touch inputs, and so it's not as responsive as you'd think because like people are not going to be as quick on the touchscreen controls. Generally speaking, I'm sure some people are very fast, but generally speaking, people aren't going to be as fast. And so there's like some stuff where the controls have to be very accommodating to touchscreen. Mm-hmm. I will say the controls are bad in menus. Sometimes the controller just has no way out. You have to use the touchscreen and stuff.
Yep.
So they need to work on that. But the game itself is a ton of fun. What have you been playing, Ryan?
Well, I mean, same as you, Division Resurgence. We've also been playing Division 2 with Adriano.
Yep.
A lot of Division. What the hell's going on? What the hell?
I mean, I love the Division. Always
what
have.
The damn?
I'm down.
I've also been playing a lot of Network Hero.
What the hell is that?
Trying to mess with my my home network.
Oh man. Okay.
That's a video game in and of itself.
And Network Hero, is that like? Yeah. What isn't there like a music game, something Hero, where you're like playing a platformer, but you have to play on beat or something like that?
Platformer.
There's like DJ Hero and like Guitar Hero and all those games, of course. But there's like a more modern, like a more recent game where it's like something hero where you like actually have to like play like a platformer, like a 2D platformer on beat or something like that.
Oh, okay. No, I'm not
Something I
sure.
can't remember now, but
A lot of Overwatch. The season's ended. New season starting soon, like in a couple days. Probably Tuesday, I'd imagine. Um, New hero just got announced. That will be exciting to jump back in. Their 51st hero.
holy crap,
51 heroes.
that's a lot.
It's you don't really think about it even when you view the hero screen, but it is 2 rows of 25 heroes.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of little character faces on there.
That's a lot of people you had to like invent, you know. So that's pretty wild that they were able to do that. All of them have pretty distinct, you know, gameplay to some degree.
And you have to kind of memorize them too, even if you don't want to play as
Yeah.
them, because if they scream their like they
Oh
yell
yeah.
out during their ultimate, it's like, am I gonna die or am I just like, do I just stand still? What do I do?
Right. So that yeah, that's been fun. A little bit of not Breath of the Wild, Jesus. Um Horizon Forbidden West. And that's probably about it. Haven't played my Switch since we got back from vacation, Matt.
That stinks.
Or no, I did play it a bit, but then like this last week I didn't touch it at all.
You said you had just learned rather how to play Mario Kart properly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I played all. I got 3 stars on all of them on 100cc. So, but I kind of lost the what do you call it?
The drive.
Yeah, I lost. Yeah, I lost the drive to kind of keep playing it. So that kind of sucks. And then very little bit. I played a bit of Valheim with Aaron last night.
Oh my god, that's a
Yeah.
shock.
Yeah. I have it on my Mac, and so I just downloaded it on my Mac. It's like 2.8 gigs, which is hilarious.
I'm surprised
And,
you're playing a friggin' make your
no,
own
I
adventure
know.
game.
I know. It is. It very much is. Like an hour into it, I was just like, I don't know what to do. It's like I can't build another hut. I just can't build another shack.
Did you build? I was gonna say, did you build yourself a house?
Yeah, but then it's like okay, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I know Aaron wants me to play it a lot, so I'll keep trying.
Good luck with that one. I'm more of a Minecraft man myself.
Oh well, yeah. Our friend Roxanne booted up a server, so I might try to get a little bit of that going too. But again, I'm not a make your own adventure guy, so this might all be futile. But I'm giving it a go.
I think you have to be obsessed with part of the make your own adventure, and you are not. Like I'm obsessed with
Yeah.
infrastructure, where I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't want to walk through this stupid forest anymore. I'm building a damn bridge, and if it takes me 3 hours, then I guess I'm spending 3 hours building this bridge.
You know what I need though, and maybe one of you guys could do this for me. Actually, if you guys told me, "Hey Ryan, we want a bridge over there. Go build us a bridge," I
That'd
would then
work.
go build the bridge. But
Yeah.
I don't. I have no desire to build that bridge by myself. Like just that doesn't just come to me and say, "Oh, I should build a bridge over here."
But
I
you
need a
would be
city
happy
planner.
to help out with the
Yes.
projects, the community
Yes.
projects.
Yes, I am a worker bee. You know, send me off to go do work.
You know what? That'll get you going too, because you might need to build a hut to put like resources locally to let you know what I mean.
Yeah.
To like make it easier to get the resources over there and like start terraforming and stuff. And
Basically, I don't want to make the decisions. Even if you were like, we need a bunch of wood, Ryan, can you go cut down some trees? I'd go, yeah, sure, I'm on it. You know,
man,
I have to be used in a games or a make your own adventure game.
if Aaron's listening to this,
Yeah.
he's making a list. He's making a Valheim list.
Yeah. All right, that's it for this week. We're streaming Warhammer. We played Warhammer. That was a lot of fun too.
And we found out it doesn't run worth a crap on my computer.
Yeah, the endless battle with PC gaming is compatibility and
Although we found a happy medium.
Why a 4080 of all the cards has an issue? Why that 4080? You know,
It's bizarre. It's so
Yeah.
bizarre.
yeah. So yeah, you can watch us stream that Wednesdays, twitch.tv/DayOnePatchMedia, Wednesdays 9 p.m. Eastern, and we'll see you guys next time.
Hey yo, peace.